Imagine the situation. You show interest in a woman, exchange messages, maybe even go out with her a few times, and suddenly, silence. She starts taking hours to reply, cancels dates, or simply ghosts you without explanation. This experience of being ignored is one of the most frustrating things in any man's dating life. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Why did she lose interest? Insecurity and confusion take over, leading you to behaviors that, ironically, only diminish your attractiveness further. But what if there was a different path? What if, instead of superficial pickup techniques, you could develop authentic qualities that naturally spark female desire? The answer to this dilemma might lie in a philosophy developed over 2,000 years ago: Stoicism. In the whirlwind of modern relationships, where dating apps have turned human connection into something disposable, Stoic principles offer a reliable guide for the man who wants to establish his presence genuinely and magnetically. It's not about manipulation or psychological games, but about deep personal development that transforms you from the inside out. Stoicism emerged in ancient Greece and was refined by Roman thinkers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. Its central message is powerful in its simplicity. Focus only on what is within your control and accept with serenity what is not. In the context of relationships, this means a complete revolution in how you interact with the opposite sex. The world is full of average men, those who react impulsively when ignored, who beg for attention, who despair in the face of rejection. These are men who place their self-worth in the hands of the women they are interested in. On the other hand, high-value men, increasingly rare, understand that their inner strength and self-confidence do not depend on female validation. It is these men who, paradoxically, spark the most intense desire in women. When a woman shows distance, most men fall into predictable behavioral traps. They become persistent with repetitive messages, show excessive anxiety, develop resentment, or even become passive-aggressive. All these reactions communicate the same thing: insecurity and emotional scarcity, and nothing diminishes female attraction more than these qualities. The Stoic path proposes a radically different approach. Instead of uncontrolled emotional reactions, it offers a response based on self-control and rational acceptance of circumstances. This stance not only preserves your dignity, but also, as a natural side effect, sparks curiosity and renewed interest. Let's explore 5 fundamental attitudes directly inspired by Stoic philosophy that will completely transform your dynamic with women. These are not temporary tactics, but profound changes in mindset and behavior that permanently alter how you are perceived. The first Stoic attitude that sparks female desire is the development of emotional self-sufficiency. This concept is at the heart of Stoic thought and represents a revolution in how you approach relationships. Emotional self-sufficiency essentially means that you don't need the presence, attention, or approval of a specific woman to feel complete and valid as a man. When you depend emotionally on someone, this dependence manifests in behaviors that communicate weakness: obsessively checking if she's read your message, changing your schedule to accommodate her at any cost, constantly seeking her approval, showing excessive jealousy. All these behaviors, even when subtle, are intuitively perceived by women and create distance. An emotionally self-sufficient man, on the other hand, exerts an almost magnetic attraction without any artificial effort. His happiness and sense of purpose exist independently of her presence. You desire her in your life, but you don't need her to feel complete. This subtle distinction completely changes the relationship dynamic. To develop this Stoic quality, start by practicing what the philosophers called negative visualization. Periodically imagine what your life would be like without this woman you desire so much. Realize that although there would be initial sadness, you would continue to exist, thrive, and find meaning. This practice gradually dissolves emotional dependence and strengthens your inner autonomy. Another essential practice is cultivating multiple sources of fulfillment in your life. The man who puts all his eggs in the relationship basket is destined to communicate desperation, develop deep friendships, engaging hobbies, meaningful career projects, and a spiritual or philosophical connection. When your emotional well-being rests on several pillars, No romantic rejection can completely shake you. Observe how you react when she takes a long time to respond or cancels a date. If you feel intense anger, anxiety, or despair, these are clear indicators of emotional dependence. The Stoic man uses these moments as opportunities to practice constructive detachment. It's not about indifference, but a serene acceptance that you don't control her actions, only your own responses. Remember the words of Epictetus: "The key to freedom is not desiring anything that depends on the will of others." In the romantic context, this doesn't mean abandoning the desire for the relationship, but realizing that your inner peace should not be conditioned on the choices she makes. This stance communicates an inner strength that women rarely find and deeply value. The second Stoic attitude that radically transforms your communication with women is a mature stance on communication aligned with the Stoic virtue of temperance. When a woman pulls away, common male reactions vary between two equally harmful extremes: the desperate barrage of messages or complete silence driven by wounded pride. Both approaches communicate insecurity, just in different ways. The Stoic approach suggests a middle path based on the virtue of temperance, the prudent balance between extremes. This stance manifests in communication that is direct, respectful, and above all, free from desperate expectations about the response. In practice, this means that when she stops responding, you don't send multiple messages questioning why or showing anxiety, nor do you disappear completely out of wounded pride in a manipulative attempt to provoke jealousy or guilt. Instead, after a reasonable time without contact, you send a simple message like, "Everything okay?" or "How was your weekend?" This single message shows you're still interested, but not obsessed or desperate. This approach communicates emotional maturity and self-respect, qualities that women subconsciously seek in potential partners. The subliminal message you convey is, "I'm interested in you, but my world doesn't fall apart if there's no reciprocation." This stance creates a psychological space that often favors reconnection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In the context of communicating with women, this means not arguing or justifying your worth, but simply communicating with the dignity and self-confidence of someone who knows their own value. No games, no manipulation, just authenticity tempered with self-control. Also, observe the quality of your dialogue when you are talking. The insecure man dominates the conversation by compulsively talking about himself or puts himself in an inferior position, agreeing with everything she says. The Stoic man, in contrast, practices the art of balanced conversation. He knows how to speak confidently about his achievements when relevant, but also shows genuine interest in her life and perspectives. He disagrees respectfully when necessary, showing he has his own opinions. Temperance in communication also means controlling the frequency and content of your messages. There's no need to bombard her with long texts or multiple consecutive messages. Communicate with purpose and clarity, respecting her space and your own. This mature stance creates natural intrigue and respect without any artificial game-playing techniques. The third Stoic attitude that completely transforms your attractiveness is establishing clear selection criteria based on the Stoic virtue of prudence. In a world where many men tirelessly pursue any minimal sign of female interest, the Stoic man stands out for his conscious selectivity. Stoic prudence teaches that we should carefully evaluate where we invest our energy and attention. In the context of relationships, this means developing clear criteria about the qualities you value in a partner, and more importantly, about the behaviors that demonstrate reciprocity and genuine interest. The average man falls into the trap of ardently pursuing women who barely show interest, while ignoring those who genuinely value him. This stance communicates a scarcity mindset, the subconscious belief that romantic opportunities are rare and therefore must be pursued at any cost, regardless of the quality of the connection. The Stoic man, conversely, calmly assesses the demonstrated reciprocity. He notices when a woman invests time and energy in the interaction and responds proportionally. When he perceives consistent patterns of disinterest, he doesn't redouble efforts in a desperate attempt to gain attention. Instead, He redirects his energy towards more promising and balanced connections. This selective attitude creates a powerful reversal of the usual dynamic. Instead of pursuing, you become the evaluator, the one who determines if she meets your criteria for integrity, reciprocity, and compatibility. This change in perspective is not only healthy for your self-esteem, it paradoxically increases your perceived value in the dating market. The philosopher Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." In the romantic context, this means that true abundance doesn't come from accumulating superficial interactions with many women, but from knowing how to recognize and value authentic connections, even if they are fewer. In practice, establishing criteria means carefully observing how she behaves, not just what she says. Does she respect your time? Does she show interest in getting to know you more deeply? Does she keep her word when making commitments? Is she willing to invest energy in the connection between you? The prudent man observes these signs without anxiety, using them as valuable information for his decisions. Cultivating this selective attitude doesn't mean becoming arrogant or inaccessible. It's simply about valuing your own time and emotional energy, recognizing that they are too precious resources to be wasted on someone who doesn't show real interest. This stance of self-respect communicates value without any need for explicit declarations. The fourth Stoic attitude that naturally sparks female desire is cultivating a higher purpose in life related to the Stoic virtue of justice. In Stoic philosophy, justice refers not only to legal matters, but to the ability to live in harmony with others and fulfill one's duties in the broader society. For the modern man, this translates to having a clear mission that transcends romantic relationships. When you have defined goals, genuine passions, and a vision for contributing to the world around you, you naturally become more attractive without any conscious effort to impress. A woman perceives that she is not the center of your existence, but a valued companion on a journey that has meaning and direction independent of her. The common mistake many men make is turning the woman they are interested in into the main focus of their life. All their planning, thoughts, and emotional energy becomes centered on her. This stance, while it might seem romantic in movies, inevitably leads to diminished female interest. Women are naturally attracted to men who are moving towards something significant, not to those who make them their primary project. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man must stand erect, not be kept erect by others." In the context of modern relationships, this means developing an inner purpose so strong that your value and direction don't depend on the presence or approval of any specific woman. You remain erect by your own inner strength, not needing to be kept erect by female validation. In practice, cultivating a higher purpose means asking yourself regularly, what would I be building and pursuing in my life, even if romantic relationships didn't exist? The answer to this question reveals your authentic purpose, what you are called to accomplish in this world, regardless of romantic matters. This purpose can manifest in various areas: your career, creative projects, contributions to your community, spiritual or intellectual development, social causes you actively support. The important thing is that it's something that genuinely ignites your passion and persistence, not an artificial image you create to impress. When you live guided by purpose, your eyes light up when you talk about your passions. Your schedule has clear priorities. You occasionally have to decline dates because you're committed to your goals. You have interesting stories to share about your experiences and learnings. All these qualities naturally spark female curiosity and interest, as they communicate that you are a man who lives on his own terms. A woman instinctively perceives that a man with a clear purpose will represent a partner who brings meaning, direction, and security to a potential relationship. He won't place on her the impossible responsibility of being the sole source of his happiness and fulfillment. This is an unconscious relief that allows her to draw closer without the weight of unrealistic expectations. Remember the words of Epictetus: know first what you want to be, then do what you have to do. Before intensely seeking relationships, ask yourself who you want to become as a man and what mark you want to leave on the world. This clarity of purpose will be your unshakable foundation, independent of the complexities of love life. The Fifth and final Stoic attitude that transforms your attractiveness is the ability to set healthy boundaries, grounded in the Stoic virtue of courage. In Stoic philosophy, courage refers not only to heroic deeds, but to the willingness to do what is right even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. In the context of relationships, this means establishing and maintaining clear boundaries that preserve your dignity and well-being. When a woman consistently ignores you, shows continuous disrespect, or keeps you in a permanent state of uncertainty, the Stoic response is not to redouble efforts to win her over or remain in a cycle of anxiety. The courageous response is to recognize that your time and emotional energy are too valuable to be wasted on someone who doesn't show consistent reciprocity. This attitude isn't born from resentment or an attempt to manipulate her into giving you attention. It arises from a place of self-responsibility and self-awareness. You simply acknowledge the truth of the situation without drama and consciously decide to redirect your energy towards connections and activities more aligned with your well-being and personal growth. In practice, setting boundaries might mean directly communicating your expectations in a budding relationship. I really value clear communication and reciprocity. If there isn't genuine interest, I prefer we be honest with each other. When expressed without demands or ultimatums, these boundaries communicate self-confidence and clarity, magnetic qualities for emotionally mature women. Setting boundaries also means being willing to move on when negative patterns persist. This willingness is not a manipulative strategy to make her miss you, but an authentic decision based on self-respect. Paradoxically, this stance often sparks renewed curiosity in the one who previously ignored him, as it communicates that you are a man who knows his worth. Stoic courage also manifests in the willingness to be vulnerable in a controlled way, expressing your feelings and intentions without psychological games or ulterior motives. Many men, fearing rejection, never clearly express their interest, remaining in ambiguous relationships that eventually lose steam. The Stoic man has the courage to express his intentions clearly, serenely accepting any response. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." In the context of modern relationships, where authentic vulnerability has become rare, expressing yourself honestly while maintaining clear boundaries is truly an act of courage. This combination of controlled vulnerability and firm boundaries creates a masculine presence that inspires both respect and attraction. It's important to note that setting boundaries doesn't mean permanently cutting off communication or holding a grudge. The Stoic man keeps the door open for future reconnection if there is genuine interest on her part. He simply doesn't wait passively for that possibility, continuing to move forward on his own journey with serenity and purpose. Stoic principles teach us a fundamental truth about relationships. We cannot control others' actions, only our own responses. When a man incorporates these 5 attitudes into his daily life, emotional self-sufficiency, mature communication, clear selection criteria, higher purpose, and healthy boundaries, he creates a fascinating paradox. By ceasing to desperately chase female attention, he often becomes more desirable. This happens because these attitudes communicate without words the qualities that women subconsciously seek in potential partners: self-confidence, emotional maturity, clear direction, and intrinsic worth. These qualities transcend cultures and eras, connecting with fundamental aspects of human attraction. It's important to emphasize that adopting these Stoic attitudes doesn't guarantee the attraction of a specific woman. The very spirit of Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control external outcomes, only our actions and responses. The true purpose of this approach is not to manipulate others, but to develop a character that naturally projects value and attracts authentic connections. The beauty of this philosophy is that even if these attitudes don't spark the interest of the specific woman currently occupying your thoughts, they invariably attract other quality people into your life and, more importantly, transform your own experience of relationships. You stop being a hostage to external validation and become the conscious creator of your social and romantic reality. The Stoic path is not easy. It requires deep self-knowledge, emotional discipline, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths about yourself. It requires you to abandon reactive behaviors that may be deeply ingrained in your relationship patterns. But the benefits far outweigh the simple matter of attracting women. You develop an inner strength that serves as a foundation for all aspects of your life. When you adopt the Stoic perspective, you'll begin to realize that being occasionally ignored is not a reflection of your worth as a man, but simply external circumstances you don't completely control. This understanding frees your emotional energy from the cycle of anxiety and insecurity that typically accompanies the search for female approval. Stoic philosophers practiced an exercise called visualization of adversity. Adapted to the context of modern relationships, this means preemptively visualizing scenarios like being ignored, receiving a cold response, or facing direct rejection. In your mind, you practice responding to these situations with dignity and self-control instead of impulsive reactions. This mental practice strengthens your emotional resilience when real challenges arise. Remember that developing these Stoic attitudes is a process, not a final destination. There will be times when you revert to old behaviors based on insecurity. This is a natural part of growth. The important thing is to recognize these moments without excessive self-judgment and gently guide yourself back to the Stoic path. As you internalize these 5 attitudes in your daily life, something remarkable begins to happen. Your presence changes. Your energy communicates something different. People, not just women, respond to you in new and more respectful ways. This effect isn't mystical, but the natural result of a man projecting confidence rooted not in external approval, but in solid philosophical principles. The true power of Stoicism in relationships lies in its primary focus, not on changing her behavior, but on strengthening your own character and self-esteem through incorporating philosophical principles into all areas of life. When you become the type of man who naturally sparks interest, respect, and desire, you transcend the desperate need for techniques and strategies. In a world where relationships are often based on superficial games and mutual validation, the Stoic man represents something rare and valuable: authenticity based on deep self-knowledge. This quality, more than any technique or external appearance, is what truly creates meaningful and lasting connections. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true freedom comes not from controlling external circumstances, but from mastering our internal responses. In the context of relationships, this means freeing yourself from the desperate need for female validation, finding unshakable confidence in your own worth and purpose. This internal freedom is, paradoxically, what makes a man truly magnetic. So, the next time you find yourself being ignored by a woman who has sparked your interest, remember these 5 Stoic attitudes. Instead of reacting with desperation or resentment, choose the response that reflects a man of developed character. This conscious choice not only preserves your dignity, but often rekindles the interest that seemed lost. The attitudes we explored today, emotional self-sufficiency, mature communication, clear selection criteria, higher purpose, and healthy boundaries, are not just strategies for relationships. They are pillars for an authentic and fulfilled masculine life in all aspects. When you incorporate them, not only into your love life, but into every dimension of your existence, you become not only more attractive to women, but a man of real impact and meaning in the world. As Marcus Aurelius would say, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Your thoughts about relationships, about yourself, and about the women you are interested in fundamentally determine your experience. Choose thoughts aligned with Stoic wisdom, and watch how your reality begins to transform, regardless of who chooses to ignore or value you. It's time to transform frustration into growth, rejection into self-discovery, and the search for external validation into a journey of inner development. The Stoic path doesn't promise instant results, but it offers something infinitely more valuable: the ability to navigate the complex world of modern relationships with dignity, purpose, and unwavering authenticity. Women may occasionally ignore you, but when you live by Stoic principles, you will never again ignore your own integrity, purpose, and worth. And it is this internal congruence, more than any external technique, that sparks the deepest and most lasting female desire.